I welcome all of you on Your PDA Education, and you are watching the series of videos which we show you related to the inspirational journeys of various entrepreneurs. So in that series, I'm going to interact today with one of such visionary first generation entrepreneur who has made very big in his life, and in a very short period of time the business grew from merely 50,000 rupees to 2,000 crore rupees. So that kind of rise, and especially in the domain of medical aid manufacturing devices. So I'm going to interact today with Dr. PJ Singh and story of his growth and rise. You know, Tynor is India's largest manufacturer of orthopedic aid, and it has its presence in more than 40 countries. And Dr. PJ Singh himself is a very visionary and very, I'll say, achiever in his own life, and many things he has to offer. So all the technocrats who aspire to be in entrepreneurship or who dream very high certainly will get benefited from this entire interaction. Dr. Singh has many things to offer, very small things which actually make a very big impact in the growth of the journey of any entrepreneur. That is what he has discussed. Dr. Singh is not only entrepreneur but he is academician also. He has taken his doctorate from USA. He was from M Pharma. So after M Pharma, he entered into business domain, something which is unconventional. I mean, people join academics, join teaching, don't think of getting into business. Dr. Singh did business, used some kind of unconventional, innovative techniques to bring growth to his business, and collaboration with various countries, companies of different countries, and he has given many tricks to budding entrepreneurs who wants to rise. He has given a lot of tricks during his interaction. Very straightforward person, and telling very, I'll say, grassroots things which he has himself observed and experienced. He's awarded and got lot many recognitions, India, abroad, various countries, and he has done his business in, I'll say, latest domains of quality and technology. He has used a Toyota production system. So not many industries in India were using this particular manufacturing system when he started using it. And then various other management principles, whatever we study in the books, he has implemented that and experienced on his own. I'm very sure you will get lot of benefited from the interaction. Be patient and listen to the interaction, my interaction with Dr. Singh, and I'm very sure it will be inspirational for you, and at the same time it's a great learning for you, especially for those who want to make really big in the domain of entrepreneurship. So let's go and interact with Dr. Singh. Hi, welcome all of you. I'm Dr. Vijender, and I welcome you all on today on my show, that is Interaction with the Visionaries. And with me today, Dr. PJ Singh is there. And thanks a lot, sir, for giving your time today from your busy schedule. Sir is CMD of Tynor Industries, and sir is first generation entrepreneur. I believe in the last 2 decades, the growth of the industry is exuberant. It's a huge, and it's very motivational journey sir has, and he's of the opinion that India has a lot of opportunities, especially in the field of industries, and there are so many requirements, and sir has a lot of ideas which I am very sure will help all of you, and especially those who are looking forward to become the entrepreneur. So first hand experience from sir will come. Thanks a lot, sir, once again. And my majority of viewers on this channel are engineering students, those who are either in college or they are in the industries, and they look forward to get opportunities in the industries or create their own industries. So I have made some kind of questionnaire, sir, and I'll be interacting one by one, and I'm very sure we'll get a lot of information through this.
Sure. In fact, it's my pleasure to address to such large number of students, and if somebody is able to get some benefit, it's my pleasure. So I'm happy to answer.
Okay, so my first question normally is related to the personality only. So we want to know about you, and since you are first generation entrepreneur, so you must have thought of starting from somewhere, some ideas, some capital investment, and I know that you started with 50,000 initial investment, 50,000 rupees, and people believe that lot of funding is required to start some venture, though it is not true in your case. So I want your journey, sir, and how with very small money you can make very big.
In fact, if we start from the beginning, I did my master's in pharmaceutical sciences from Punjab University. Then I was teaching in a college as a college lecturer for 2 years. I was there,
Okay.
but my heart would always say that I have to be in business, and business also into manufacturing.
Okay.
But you know, manufacturing typically requires a few prerequisites. You know, unless you have that, you cannot start or you cannot prosper in this business. So the first, as we say, is the know-how to produce. No, let me start with what to produce is the first question.
Yes.
Second is know how to produce.
How to produce.
How to produce that.
True.
Third would be how to market it.
Yes.
And then probably the fourth would be
Expansion.
where to
Yeah.
get the money from,
Yeah.
the capital,
Yeah.
right? So these are 3-4 things which are very important and by and large uniformly, you know, required in every venture.
Right, sir.
So I had the same problems and the same question in front of me when I wanted to go into business. So I would quickly tell you how I solved. So what to produce? So I was clear that I come from a medical background, so I had to go into some kind of a medical product.
Okay.
But which medical product? I did a survey. See, 25 years back when I did the survey,
Right, sir.
there were not the tools like Google and all this, you know,
Internet facilities were
digital
not there.
things were not available.
Yes, sir.
So you had to go physically and do the survey.
Place to place.
So I picked up 8 cities in the country, spread all over, and in each city I would go and visit about 100 odd chemists and ask them that what you think is not available to you.
Okay.
Right? So I had a good questionnaire. So that questionnaire, by and large, these chemists would answer, and I arrived at a very beautiful, you know, product line which we now call as orthotics or orthopedic appliances that what we produce today. And this product was very clean, stark, you know, shining. That yes, this is what is the shortage, the vacuum in India. So if you want to start, please start with this. So my survey gave me this answer.
Product. Okay.
Product. The second was that how do I produce this? After all, I had no clue what this product is and how will I make it. Then I thought, how do I start? I started writing to, you know, again I said there were no internet, no emails.
Right, sir.
So you had to contact them physically.
Physically.
So I went to all the embassies of the world,
Okay.
found out that which are the best brands in the world.
Okay.
Since India had no big brands then.
Mhm.
So embassies gave me the answer and gave me the address. I wrote them letters, physical letters, and I would tell them that, see, I want to have a joint venture with you.
Okay.
So why not work together, because India is a very big market.
Okay.
Now, all these big companies of those times wanted some kind of credibility on my side also,
Okay.
some credentials.
Yes.
So I had neither the background, the experience of business,
Okay.
nor the money
Hmm.
to buy their technology.
True.
But somehow, you know, there were a lot of interest from that side, and in the process of writing a few letters, asking a few questions, you know, nothing happened, but I got a lot of catalogs.
Okay.
I got some technology papers. I got a lot of insight into how these companies were operating and what is the range of products that they were making and what are their USPs, what are the materials they use, and what is the kind of machinery that is required. So each company would try to impress me because they did not know who I am, and I was seeking their sort of technology transfers or a joint venture. So they gave me in general a lot of things, right? And that was enough, I think, to start with.
Mhm.
So this I I had more knowledge in India than anybody else in India.
Okay.
Through these, 20
Survey.
odd, discussions that I had with these
Yes,
companies.
yes.
Now, still, this did not solve my problem. So I had some knowledge.
Great.
So I went to a local manufacturer in Delhi,
Okay.
so who was making these products, but
Okay.
they were technically not very superior, quality wise they were not good. So I told this guy that why can't we join hands and I'll give you the know-how and you make it for me. So I gave him a plan for a big business and he was ready to work with me.
Okay.
So now my knowledge improvised those products and we could generate sufficiently good products
Okay.
then with in their factory,
Okay.
and this gave us the first set of products.
Okay.
The third thing I mentioned was marketing. So I told you there was a vacuum in the market. So what we did, we used all the myths of that time so as to create an illusion, the perception of a big brand.
Okay.
So what was that? So first of all, a nice sounding brand, Tynor.
Okay.
So Tynor was a very European sounding, nicely sounding name. Second was, people thought that companies who would have a collaboration with some European or American company are big companies.
Right.
So what we did, so we talked to our people, and so they say yes, we can organize a joint venture, a simple joint venture. So I had my cousin in US who was into a tech field. So we just signed a few documents, and that was sufficient to show that we are a joint venture company, because it was more on the paper rather than real thing. And then we created nice catalogs, because I had a lot of catalogs. So we just made those catalogs, and those times the products were not available in nice 4-colored box packaging, right? So they were available in poly bags. So and on top of it, I was an M.Pharm. So I had put my business card with a label that I am the marketing manager. So they say a company which has such a senior, well-read, well-educated manager, sales manager, must be a very good company, right? So all this, and then we put our address also from Mumbai. So then they thought that local companies are not good, Mumbai-based companies are better. So all these myths, we created, and we sort of created a brand,
Okay.
because we had to sell in North.
Hmm.
So company coming from Mumbai was better valued,
Yeah.
correct? So what we would do, the next myth, that people, the companies, the brands who are big, they ask for deposits and advance payments.
Okay.
So what we would do is, we will go to the city and call everybody over dinner and launch our company,
Okay.
right? And tell them that those who want the dealership have to pay 20,000 rupees as a deposit and a minimum order of 20,000, that too in advance.
Okay.
So those who, and you won't believe, we had people lined up for our dealership. We would need only one or two or three in a city, depending upon the size, and there were 20 available, waiting with money.
Okay.
So launching and then initial marketing our product was not a big problem. Why? There was a demand. And we were launching in all the right way,
Mhm.
that the product has to be launched,
Okay.
right? So marketing was much easier than we thought.
Okay.
And fourth was the capital.
Yeah.
So now you would ask that where did the capital come from? I had 50,000 rupees and we spent that money in creating all these things, catalogs and boxes and all these stuff, which is a superficial stuff
It's true.
in a truest sense. Now we were selling in advance with the deposits in our hand and paying to that manufacturer after 60 days.
Okay.
So we would always have
Surplus
a lot of
money.
surplus money with us.
Hmm.
So the money was not required, correct? So in any way, we started with no money and we had enough money. But then this, what you call as a fairy tale, did not last for a very long time.
Okay.
Why? Because for a simple reason, the business actually grew big within a year. But this guy was not that organized,
Okay.
the supplier,
Okay.
the manufacturer. So he had all the quality issues.
Okay.
He would not supply on time, and on top of it, when he saw so much of business coming, that though we had a agreement that he would not increase the prices for 2 years, and he immediately says no, I will increase the prices,
Okay.
right? So there was 100 problems, this guy had given me. So I was really furious that on one side the business is doing so well. So I went to Delhi. There were no phone calls then, right? So I went to Delhi and bashed this, abused this guy left, right, and center. And we Punjabis are very good at that. And so what happened? So that verbal agreement that whatever we had with this guy, so came to a standstill.
Okay.
And the company had no product to sell, and it came to a standstill.
Okay.
So it was like, everything gone. The castle of cards that we had built had crumbled. So 3 months were 3 to 6 months, I don't know, but were very bad. I was very depressed and all. But then after that, I took the stock of the situation and I found that it is not all that bad, yaar. After all, I knew this business is good because the product is in demand. And now I had a lot of money in my pocket. Instead of 50,000, I had much more. Third, though my distributors were really annoyed with me, but still they were with me, right? So they say that if you come up with the product,
We'll sell.
we are with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of positives. And also that we had now got much more insight into the production side also.
Okay.
Because we would sit with this guy in his factory and we will understand what they are doing, where the materials are coming from.
Yes, yes.
Right? We were very much involved in the production process also. So I think every thing seemed to be right, that why not we produce it now,
Right.
rather than rely on some substandard
Right, sir.
manufacturer. So thereafter the life changed, the journey changed.
Okay.
So we thought now we have to be so organized so that all the problems that this guy had,
We should not
at
have.
least we should not have.
Yes.
So this is how we started,
Started.
and then the journey was, what you call as DQM and lean management,
All
and
Japanese
whatever, all
techniques.
techniques, the best I could gather. And so we had, 5S, 3M, TPS, DQM,
Toyota
Okayoke,
production,
anything and everything that you name
quality.
today as a high-tech and a good quality manufacturing technique or a practice.
That you are
So
using.
we kind of learnt and brought it in.
Great.
And thereafter, we were the fastest growing medical device company in the country, and we became number 1 in the country in this particular field.
Okay.
So that's a
a
story
whole
that,
journey,
yeah,
yes.
that's it. So I don't know whether the students got something out of it or not, but yeah, this is my story.
Sir, your exponential rise, the way you explained, looks like it was very easy, though it is not easy
No,
always.
the second part is not that easy,
Yeah.
because I had to undergo
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that grind that a normal this
I'm
thing.
telling that the way you have explained, though I must understand that it must have been very difficult, because the physical survey which you did going to different embassies, we can understand, sir, it was not easy. And then you collaborated with the people who are producing, and all these ideas which you conceived.
Yeah.
I want to ask you simple question, sir. You were at that time masters in pharma.
Yeah.
You could have got very good jobs also.
Yeah. So I
Then
was in the
you-
job and I left
Yeah,
it.
and you prefer to leave it and come into something which you want to produce, which we call today as entrepreneurship. There are so many young graduates, sir, who are in colleges, and maybe they have that temperament also to
Yeah.
create something new, but they don't do it. So how to get that idea that, okay, I don't want to go for job, I should start something my own.
See, there are 2-3 things. I mean, this is a very, very difficult, complex question that you've asked. But I tell you, it's much easier when during your education you have actually worked in the industry,
Right, sir.
right? So if you have worked, you have full confidence that, okay, this guy is doing, I can also.
I can also do.
Maybe at a smaller scale, that's all.
Yes.
So this is where, you know, most of the colleges today, they call themselves as professional colleges or engineering colleges or applied science colleges,
Right, sir.
but then they actually do not apply their science. So that's irony that we find today. Second is, you know, actually, India is a very large country, and their requirement is so large. On the other hand, anybody and everybody who has this temperament can come into this, and he will get the success sooner than he has ever felt,
Yes.
right? But the second thing what I have learned over the years is that it's better to have godfathers,
Okay.
right? And today, since the present government has done wonderfully well by creating a system for startups.
Yeah.
Our time was
It
very
was not
difficult.
there.
Today there are startup, you know, special benefits and also incubation
Centers
centers
are also.
where you just go there and you will get handheld very properly. So I myself, I am mentor to about 10-15 medtech companies where whatever problems they have, whatever questions they have, so we gladly answer, we gladly handhold them, and we gladly solve their issues.
Okay.
Now, so without any remuneration, without any sort of getting anything in return.
Yeah.
So this culture has been built by the government. It's great. So today, starting up a new unit is much easier.
Okay.
You get money easily. Those days, you know, rate of interest was 21%.
Even marketing and survey is easy, as you
Yes, you
mentioned.
have the technology at
On a
your
click
hand.
of mouse, you can get information.
Yes. So it's easier.
It's
So
easier.
this is how I feel.
Sir, you dared to have your joint ventures with the foreigners, as you said. At least you thought of in the very initial stage of your this entire startups. Not many people think about that. In fact, I tell you honestly, like when you come to one level, then maybe people start thinking that okay, we will now have a collaboration with the foreign players. How you could think from the very beginning when you were not having very big.
Since I tell you, in my field, it came very easily to me. Why? Because there was no good manufacturer in India. So if I had to take some help, if I had to learn from somebody else, if I had to benchmark someone else, I had to be, you know, not finding him within the country. I had to go out,
Right, sir.
right? And the best way to go and get their help
Right, sir.
is either money or a chance to have a collaboration.
Right.
Because why do they want us? Because India is a huge market. So if there is a guy who says, I want to produce your item, they are very happy to come and work with you. So, you know, I started my journey with talking to the foreign companies because I needed knowledge from them. Second, in 2003, I signed up the first joint venture with a French company. The name was Ormil Denet, which no longer exists now. There is no collaboration. The company exists, but no collaboration. Why? Because so this company was not serious,
Okay.
and it was done through the government of India. There is a center called as APCTT, Asia Pacific Center for Technology Transfer. They help you, the small scale companies, to get your collaborations with foreign companies. But the real collaboration came when this company called as Thuan, which is again a French company, they came finding for us. So we were number 4 then, and there were 4 companies and we were number 4. So they went around in India finding such companies who are into orthopedic appliances. So they came to us with a very half mind, half heart. But then they found, yeah, this guy is good,
Okay.
right? Why? Because
You
we
were
had
convinced them. Yeah.
we had such a sharp and strong value system and management systems. Though we were very small, but they liked the way we worked. So instead of going with the number 1, 2, and 3, so they went with the 4th one.
Okay.
And they then put a lot of money, they gave some kind of technology which really helped us grow.
Yes.
And we had the access to their units in France,
Okay.
and that cross-cultural exchanges
Mm.
and the knowledge which flowed from them to us
Mm.
was very easy. So that helped us.
That's-
And that is 10 years, more than 10 years back.
Okay. Dr. Singh, I would like to ask you a question. You are from pharma or medical side, and still you have become a force in manufacturing domain now. So how you thought of that, being from medical side, you will enter into manufacturing domain, which actually conventionally is from engineering domain. And my second question is, we do not find very educated people, doctorate people into industries. So how this thing?
So I think it is the need. So when I came into this field, it was a very easy field on the surface, right? Because low tech products are there, not big technology was required. And then I would always wonder why no other company is coming into this field.
Okay.
Not many players into this.
Not-
So, but halfway through, when I was full fledged into this field of manufacturing these products, I realized, I understood what is the reason that most people do not want to come into this field. The reason was that there are diverse kind of products. We make about 300 odd products today. So they are very diverse in their materials, and because of materials, their manufacturing process. So the process, you need 100 odd processes to make one product, right? It is like car manufacturing, very diverse, very complex, so many processes under one roof. No small scale company can manage it. Second is that the product is made by hand, so it's a very labor intensive production. Third is highly technical, because a medical product, life and death of some patient is dependent. So all the complexities, but the margins were low and the volume of total business was low.
Okay.
So the large company would not venture, large company doesn't come because it's a small business, low volume, low profit business. And the small companies would not come into it because of the complexity of production and all. So what was my need? So that I am able to resolve the complexity of production. And then we found one consultant. So she taught us the process called as Toyota Production System or Lean Management. So this system is so great, it had all the answers to all our problems, right? So we became sort of so much enamored with this Toyota Production System that I eventually did my PhD in this subject.
Okay.
So the need was there to manage this company, and we started learning and doing this Toyota thing. And thereafter, what I did was that I studied the Toyota system, and I realized it's very complex to implement it in India. Why? Because on one hand, we did not have very, educated engineers with us, and people would not go at lengths to read such complex documents. So what we did, we kind of made those documents, which are very complex, written by most of the European authors, though it's a Japanese theory.
Yes.
So we simplified them.
Okay.
So the modified Toyota or Indianized Toyota that I wrote was a 2-page document for every tool. There are 20 tools in a typical Toyota production system. So for each tool, there were 2 pages instead of 200 otherwise, or 300 for each tool, right? So 2 pages at least you can understand. And it was only the implementation part of it, no theory behind, correct?
Okay.
So what our guys, those were even undergraduates,
They could understand.
they could understand one,
And implement.
and when they will implement, they would get magical results out of it.
Okay.
I am using the word magical. I tell you, the results were so magical that they would increase the productivity by 20% with very little knowledge and reading those papers. And the productivity grew, the quality of the product grew so fast, and people, the workers were so happy that, because Toyota essentially wants that there should not be a stress on the people. It's a very people-oriented process.
Sir, this Toyota production system which you are mentioning, is it relevant only to your industry or all the industries?
No. It is relevant to all complex industries, all labor-intensive industries, and I think it is relevant to India the most.
Okay.
Why? Because we have a
We are not,
very labor-intensive production units we have. The
We are
kind
not
of
that
product-
quality conscious also, our industries. And
No,
we need
we
to
are quality conscious, and this gives you the quality.
Yes, this gives.
Now we are getting quality conscious.
Yes.
Every average Indian now is more quality
Becoming
conscious.
quality.
So I think that's a panacea for the country.
So
If
Dr.
some-
Singh, that panacea have you shared with other industries also, or that is only
well,
yours?
I give a lot of lectures
So
on
that
various
document
forums.
which you are mentioning, is that possible to share that document?
Yes, yes.
with
What I
everyone?
have done is, you know, I thought that, see, we have grown because of this,
Yes.
whatever theory, great theory, modified theory. So what I did, I started writing a book on it. So
Okay.
I said, let me write a book. So I was halfway through. So when I shared that book with our own people, he says, "Who? There are thousands and thousands of books, and yours also would be there in one shelf.
Yeah.
Nobody reads
No,
it,
it is reading.
right?" So I think what you should do is that make a movie on it.
Yes. Or
So what
lecture.
I then did, so just writing the theory was not enough. I converted that theory into a very comical, comedy-filled script, so which is fit for a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, out of the busy schedules, we are not able to not take it forward.
Dr. Singh, can't you go for some kind of lecture on this, sir? Because
Yes, see,
it can be really
I
good.
keep on giving these lectures on Toyota and how to implement it and such small tools. And I love when, you know, young engineers
People
want to
learning
learn
it.
about it,
Yes.
right? And we always take, you know, beginners into our, so we have a department called as Industrial Engineering Department.
Okay.
So those who, you know, kind of convert the theory into the practice,
Yes.
implement the tools in the company, and they are responsible for getting the initial results, and thereafter the production people they carry forward,
carry forward.
and they keep on doing it day to day basis. So it's a beautiful theory, and each time that we implement one tool, we get about 20%, 15 to 20% increase in productivity. So that increase in productivity you just multiply by 20 times, because there are 20 tools. So that means 300 to 400%
Increase,
productivity
yeah.
increase you can do with these tools.
These tools.
But then somebody asked me, what after that?
Yeah.
I said, then repeat the cycle again.
Okay.
Repeat those tools one by one again.
Hmm.
Again, if not 300%, again you will get some 200%.
And there's a
growth.
Kaizen technique also, continuous improvement.
Continuous
and stuff,
improvement.
So that can
You know what the ultimate theory says, that you go into a dark room production thereafter. That means no person is required because it is so much automated.
Mhm.
But the journey is through the Toyota production system.
Okay. Do you think in India are using all those Japanese techniques which you mentioned, lean
A lot,
manufacturing?
because
and all? No.
auto manufacturing cannot be done without this technique.
Okay.
So we have a lot of auto sector.
Okay.
So all auto sectors, industries are using this technique,
Right, sir.
and many more advanced, more organized companies will be using it.
Right, sir.
So we might not be the best company in Toyota production system, but in our own way, we are the best in terms of productivity and quality amongst the medtech companies.
Simplified way of implementation which you have done. This is
Against the
best.
medtech companies.
Yes,
So the auto sector companies are more advanced in implementation of this tool,
Right, sir.
but in medtech companies we might be the best.
Okay. Dr. Singh, I come now to a different set of questions, and that is related to industry academia interaction. My first question to you, sir, is like when we go to developed countries like US and all, there we find a seamless interaction between academia and industries like Stanford University and Silicon Valley.
You're right.
Why that is missing in India, sir? And what can be done for that?
See, first of all, the Indian education system was developed by Britishers, right? So that was meant for serving their own needs.
Yes.
Today we have to understand our education system should serve the needs of the country,
Right.
right?
Right.
Why do we need great inventions and great basic research? Yes, we need it when we become advanced, but today first we solve our own
Our
problem.
problems. Yeah.
So that means, why not have the PhD scholar only working on a specific area
Yes.
where he is able to at least give back to the community something.
Right, sir.
The research that he does should not be meant for the libraries and only the thesis,
Research papers.
right?
Yeah.
So the mindset has to change,
Right, sir.
and we have changed a lot of mindset in many universities and colleges that I am now going kind of advisor or giving lectures, and also we have changed this mindset when we adopt certain startups. Since I am part of the startup culture, so we tell them there So this is what has to change, the education system. Now what is the difference between that education system and this education system that I am now telling you? No, this nothing great that I'm saying. I'm saying that you first identify the problem that the India has, the country has, and then give the topic to a PhD scholar for that.
Okay. So
Right?
it should be
Not
problem-based research.
Problem-based research. Second is that there is no money that should be given to any research, which is an applied kind of research, unless the product goes into the market.
Right, sir.
And how do we ensure that? Unless there is an industry partner. So if the PhD is always done as an industry part with the industry
Project,
partner, where the industry partner is investing the money,
Yeah.
right? The research should not start. You know, industry partners are very shrewd.
Huh.
Once they invest the money, they want the
Always
output.
they
also,
want result.
right?
Yeah.
But why would the industry come? Now that's the
That's
next
the
question. Because they will come when they will have confidence on the mentors. See, they do not know the PhD student,
They know that.
but they know the mentors.
Faculty, yeah.
So faculty, the faculty has to be well competent enough and having good connection with the industry.
Yes.
They should spend their lifetime in grooming those bridges,
Yes.
right, with the right industry kinds. Now, see, each professor, each department should be an excellence center, right? So they have, let's say, a chosen areas where they excel, and they should adopt and make the bridges with similar kind of industries, correct? Now, once this bridge is made, then every student that they have would work in this industry or produce a new invention for this industry. So this industry then would have full faith on the mentor, and this would be ready to invest in that research and then take it to the market.
Right, sir.
So it's very easy. Today when we go to the colleges, and I'm talking of the top-notch colleges, engineering colleges of India, we find that students are doing wonderful research, but then it never sees the light of the day. It never goes to the market just because that link is missing.
Yeah.
And why is the link is missing? Because the industry does not have faith
Yeah.
on the academia.
Academia, yeah.
Academia just wants to print papers, right? Because of their historical way of working.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have to come out of this slumber. The India no longer needs those papers,
Yes.
because these papers eventually are used by the foreign countries, the developed countries.
Yes, yes.
So we are only helping them,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
We are finding somebody's research and working on that.
Yes. Or we are trying to come up to those levels where we create something. Yeah, that is important. I'm not negating
That
that.
is one part, yeah.
Yes. But here
What we need is industry-based problems, and they have to be solved by
an industry
academia.
should invest in the academia projects, which is very important.
So conclusion is that mentors, faculty of these top-notch colleges should push hard, develop that kind of connections, find out the industry problems, approach industry people who are smart guys, and they will fund it. And then MTech and PhD.
And
should
second
come
is,
out.
typically I today have signed up with at least 10-15 universities or 10-15 projects that we are doing. But most of them will be delivered much later than
the
we expect.
expectations, yeah. That is another main
Industry typically has, in my industry, typically has a cycle of 6 months. When you work with an academic mentor, it gets extended to 2 years.
problem that loses its value.
Yes.
Because
Today
time
we
is
need
value.
it in the market.
Yeah.
After 2 years, there might be 10 competitors.
Yeah.
So the academia doesn't understand.
Dr. Singh, I will bring to your kind notice, sir. I keep on interacting with professors also. The same thing what they say, that industry wants everything in hurry. We need to put our brain into research. We need to take time, and then only we can.
Okay, I
make a
answer this.
solution. Yeah.
To the professors that now I'm going to answer. See, if you want to deliver at your own ease, then please note, find out a relevant problem first, then work on it, and then generate the requisite IPRs, that is the patents.
Yes.
Then try to sell the technology, right? The problem is, most of the time academia come to us that we are here to transfer the technology. I said, okay, we are ready to pay. But then they don't have the patents. The relevant patents are not there.
Yeah.
Correct? So why product development can be done by an industry better than the academia.
It's true.
So academia, if has to work at leisure, that means in their, not leisure, that's a wrong word, but in their own sweet time,
Yeah.
then they have to generate nice patents
Yes.
and applied patents,
Right, sir.
right? So great products
Could be
can be
created.
generated out of it,
Right, sir.
correct?
Mm.
And they should start, doing something which the industry does not plan, correct?
Right.
In the immediate future, but they plan in the distant future.
So both versions should exist.
Yes,
Both versions
they should understand that.
That's true.
But if, let's say, I go with an immediate problem to be resolved,
It
then
should be
they have
solved
to
within the
understand.
time, yeah.
Then they have to understand that.
Because,
but why can't we have efficient systems within the academia? I come from an academia background,
Right, sir.
right? So I understand the academia side of it.
Yeah.
And why can't we change the systems? Why can't we change the way we work today? And how can we, get different results if we work with a different, same old, age-old ways of working?
Yeah.
So we have to understand, and we need to sit. The other way is, belief that industry does not have knowledge. They still use the word jugaad so as to,
So next, yeah.
right? So as to,
Jugaad technique.
somehow get their products into the market.
Right, sir.
On the contrary, academia has so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, why can't it be transferred?
Yes.
Why can't an academician earn a lot of money out of this? Why can't a university earn a lot of money?
Out of this.
It's only a small thing that has to change is the timelines and the right focus, the right product they have to present to the industry,
Very true.
right? So we make our 5-year plans, we make our 3-year plans, we make a 1-year plan. So we know exactly what we will make after 5 years. Industry typically works like this. So that means anything that has to be developed in 5 years can be given to a PhD student, right?
Yeah.
Anything to be developed in 3 years or 2 years can be given to an MTech student, and which has to be done this year can be again done through whatever student source, maybe BTech, this thing. But I am sure it is not a student oriented project. It is a mentor oriented project where the mentor has to take full responsibility. And I tell you, teaching in the classroom is bad. Teaching the same engineer in the premises of the industry where everything is
Perfect.
happening,
Perfect.
right? So it should be a workshop always, and let the student actually work with their own hands, which is not the case in this country.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem.
That's the whole
See, we in my company, let's say we have 50 odd engineers working, correct? Now all these 50 odd engineers, they come from a good
Colleges.
academic background. But
Practically they're not.
next day,
Yeah.
they forget all that they have learned in their books.
Yeah.
They would then ask us, "Okay, tell us how to work."
Yeah.
So we have to,
Training
sort
starts
of
then.
train them
Yeah.
from the beginning as if they are the first year
Yeah.
students in a college, because this is the practical side of it.
It's true.
So why can't we understand that how engineering should be taught, right? So I am not here to blame the education system, but I am here to tell you that why can't we sit together and discuss over it, and why can't a professor say, okay, we will all get together in the university and we can change our syllabus, we can change the way we work, the way they teach the students.
Right.
Why can't we have more practical and more workshop oriented working teaching rather than the way they work? The other thing I find very big problem is that there is a 6-month training program,
Yes.
industrial training they call
Yes,
it.
yes.
Nobody is bothered.
No student is seriously doing
No
that.
student is seriously doing. Why the mentor is not seriously doing it?
There's wastage of time for 6
And
months.
the industry is not serious. Why? They feel that these guys will waste our time, so let's not put them
No training.
to any this thing. So they do not get the training,
Yes.
which they should get so as to become good engineers. See, today when you have come in my office, there must be around 20 to 25 students today under these programs, and they are given a very serious assignment, and whatever is their time frame, if they do not complete it, we do not give any kind of stipend to them. But if they complete, we don't not only give them stipend, we also give them big incentives, right? And sometimes, when the college comes to us, okay, we want to send such students, we say sign up a contract with us. If they do not work, they do not deliver, then we will deduct money from your account. We will take money from the college so as to train them. It's not very simple. It's not easy that here is an industry who is there for charity. No, we say, yes, we are ready to come forward to train as many engineers as you want. But then these mentors and these students both should be serious. They should understand what the industry needs are.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dr. Singh, I will ask a question which is out of the way. Had you not run your own ventures and you would have become the professor in some college, how you would have done this?
I
Because
cannot
that
fathom and
entrepreneurial
imagine that. Why I would have been into the culture of professors and lecturers, and I might have a very different mindset.
That is what I am asking, because
Yes.
that can be a guideline for mentors or professors who are going to join. Because you see, sir, in abroad foreign universities, a professor is also running the companies.
Yes.
So Dr. Singh in, let's say, IIT, Dr. Singh in IIT is a professor also. Tell me, sir, how you would have done differently, because I tell you that can help the mentors over
See,
there.
first of all, I have two foreign partners. One is an American private equity fund,
Right.
and second is a French company, strategic investor, who is exactly doing the same that we do here.
Right.
I visit them. I have an office in Paris. I stay there with them. I mean, their office I use, and we visit the local doctors there. We use the local institutes there, and we go to the colleges and see the industry academia projects that how they are practiced there. Now the whole system works there for the simple reason that the growth of a professor in a college comes from a certain PMS, the performance management of performance measurement system.
Okay.
So they get their growth only if they have,
fulfill some criteria.
and the criteria is only that how much sale they have done
Okay.
with the industry,
Okay.
how much projects they have done with the industry, and how much money they have earned from that.
Generated for that, yeah.
From that. So this is the kind of criteria that is laid for their performance measurement.
That's
In India, you go to a university, you talk of the performance measurement system, they'll kick you out.
true.
Right? Why? Because they don't want to change. And I'm not blaming them, because the system has been there for ages and ages, and change is a big problem. We humans don't want to change.
Right.
But let us see the other way. If we don't change, what happens? One day, China or US or I do not know which country would overtake India.
That's
Right? Today, our currency is going down so fast. So we are getting poorer in comparison to the rest of the nation so fast. Just look at Bangladesh.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, their currency has gone up by 50% in comparison to Indian currency.
True.
So why? We can't do it. We have to open our eyes. We have to become aware. And we, as a nationalist, we have to understand that growth of the nation would depend upon each one of us.
true.
And why only the industry would earn for the nation? Why can't professors earn for the nation?
Yes, should be. Dr. Singh, I want to ask you, sir, when we talk about industries, as you already mentioned, it is largely jugaad technology. Industries look for jugaad technology. They sometimes they import from outside the country certain techniques and technology which is required. So to replace this jugaad technology, they need to invest in their R&D facilities, industries, and at the same time, instead of importing from outside, if they depend upon their academia and generate the same technique here, if these two things are involved, this is very good, going to be very good. So what is your take on that?
Let me explain first the word jugaad.
Yes.
See, the jugaad is a half-baked technology.
Right.
Jugaad is a great idea, but which has not been nurtured properly.
Okay.
Had it been nurtured properly, it would have been a great invention, a great
IPR.
novelty, a great IPR,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So jugaad is a kind of half, cultured baby,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So we have to understand, why can't we go the full cycle?
Right, sir.
So industry does not have enough, let's say, resources or the knowledge to take the full cycle.
Right, sir.
पर उनका जुगाड़ से काम हो रहा है,
Right.
मतलब एटलीस्ट क्योंकि
getting
डिमांड
work
इज सो
done.
मच, जुगाड़ से दे मेक अ प्रोडक्ट एंड इट इज बीइंग सोल्ड इन द मार्केट.
Right, sir.
But let us say, as you have pointed out, that this jugaad is then taken up by the academia side,
Yes.
and then the full cycle of
Completed.
the
Product development or
product
something,
development
process
or
development.
novelty or IPR
Right.
is done very nicely on that,
Right, sir.
and then a great technology is generated.
Generated.
Correct?
Right.
So, as a company, what we have done, we were a jugaad-based company initially,
In the beginning.
and slowly we got more organized.
You acquired Toyota production system, total
We
quality
got more
management.
organized in our thought.
Yeah.
As a result, jugaad started getting converted into IPRs.
Yes.
And we had great R&D section.
Facilities, yes.
Right? So that can be done. But yes, it will be much easier if our academia becomes more efficient.
Right, sir.
They understand the needs.
Right, sir.
And not only academia, I think the industry has also to move a few steps towards the thought of working with academia, thought of working with an organized R&Ds,
Right, sir.
right? So all that has to change. But yes, we guys, those who are already into great R&Ds, should be the role models.
Right.
Should let others come and feel how we are doing it, how the success can be achieved, and how we can, be better than the rest of the world. See, today we are exporting to 40 countries. We do not fear China, and we have exported one day to China, right? So we do not fear. Why? Because we know our productivities are better, our product technologies and designs are better. So we can take on any country's product. And let me tell you, in our trade, there's not even a single foreign company which is successful.
Okay.
Neither the Europeans, nor the Americans, and nor the Chinese. And the beauty, I tell you, so I said 25 years back, we did a survey and we found this product, orthopedic appliances. There were not many manufacturers, or they were not very organized. 2 years back, we did this again.
Again survey you did.
We did a survey to find out
What are the
another
new-
product line that we could enter into. And again we found
A product.
a very similar product line. We are into orthotics, and our sister product line is prosthetics,
Prosthetics. Okay.
which is called as artificial limbs. So we did a survey. Not a single organized brand is available in India even today.
Okay.
So it's a virgin market. So what we did, there's a lot of vacuum. Either the product is coming from Europe, the English and the Germans, or the Chinese. So we are importing and very happy. But then we started this company, and that is how we invested in a startup from Vellore Institute of Technology, and this was being nurtured by IKP Hyderabad, right? So we invested in them. Today, in 1.5 years, this company not only has delivered great products, already, the company has got a certain valuation, which is 20 times that was being invested.
Okay.
And already the foreign player, the European, are interested to invest in that company.
Great.
The share value has gone up.
Gone up.
What is 1.5 year? And what is... so these are the students from a college.
College, yeah.
So startups have a great mind. They have great knowledge. They know artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these terms which we do not know. All we are doing is just hand holding them.
Dr. Singh, my next question was related to that only, sir. As maybe under the corporate social responsibility, you can call it, when you handhold new startups and create well thought of that, how do you decide, sir, which startup you are to support, and how can a new enterprise or new startups approach you for such kind of help?
So I tell you, see, first of all, our field is medtech.
Okay.
And within medtech also we want to remain focused on to a few
Domains only.
domains. That's one. Second is that we are part of the startup culture. So one is that we go to all these colleges like IIT Delhi, IIT Ropar, Punjab Engineering College, Punjab University, this CSIO, and then Shri Chitra Labs. So we try to go to these institutes which probably have some kind of student mentorship programs like this, and we tell them that we are here to help you or to invest in you. Second is that the biggest incubator, medtech incubator in India is IKP Hyderabad. So what we did, we went to them and we kind of started working with them, and they were so happy that somebody from the industry has come.
Okay.
So they took me as an advisor.
Okay.
So I started mentoring their companies.
Okay.
So we took the first startup, as I told you.
Okay.
It is already there in this building
Okay.
and doing phenomenally well.
Okay.
Now through that ecosystem,
Right, sir.
we will get a second one. So from our board, which is comprising of all these American friends and our family, we have got approval for 5 startups.
Okay.
So, see, once you are collaborated with these big private
Yes.
equity players, money is not a problem. There's no dearth of money. As much as you want is available, right? So we can invest in any technology. So we have a freedom to invest in any startup, provided that falls within the arena of medtech and the areas that we want to work on.
Okay.
And it's an open offer to everybody who's listening to this, that if they want any kind of mentorship without our investment, we are ready to help them.
Okay.
Number one, we're ready to take them, bring them here, show them how actually
It
the
can be
production
done.
is done.
Right.
Second is, let's say they need a better hand holding and they are ready for a kind of equity participation with us. We are ready to take on that.
So you are also playing the role of incubation center also, if I'm not
Yes.
wrong.
Now the offer has come from Government of India that we run an incubation center within the company. That's a new concept. I'm
Okay.
very excited by the thought that Government of India is bringing. That why build incubation center in the
Academic
universities?
institutes, yeah. Why not in
Why
industries?
can't we have it in
Where
the
actually
industry?
it is to be implemented.
Yes. So why can't we have 2-3 companies sitting in this industry? So if this can be an
It'll be more
incubation
effective,
center,
yeah.
it will be more effective.
That's very true.
Because this is the bridge that we need.
Yeah.
So we were offered only a week back. So we have said yes to them.
Okay.
So we will give them all our facility to these small companies.
Okay.
And if they want to come with us as partners or as equity participation, we are happy to invest in them.
Okay.
And I think there'll be a great experience with them. But yes, this is a thought at the moment. The Government of India is actually moving on. They have asked us, we have said yes. Maybe the next month we will get a few companies here and you'll see a lot of young startups, roaming around in this arena. And they will have access to all our facilities.
Facilities. also.
So it's a win-win situation for all. For us also, we will make a lot of money out of it, for sure. They will grow, for sure. And the country will grow, for sure. So this is a great thought
Opportunity.
that somebody has come.
Chalo, good. Because sir, it's the first time I'm hearing from you only that incubation center within the industry, and believe me, I believe in this particular concept and this is going to be marvelous.
Yes, it
Because
should be a marvelous.
It should be there
Theoretically,
only.
it should work a lot. And I know this, the chairman of IKP, she's Deepanita. She's an excellent person,
Okay.
a very big visionary. So I think they're doing the right things.
Dr. Singh, when we talk about entrepreneurial ideas, so you are the best person in your own domain to think of. As you in the beginning said that we are already, our plate is full, already that is there. But so many ideas are there in the brain on which work can be done. Can you share some of such ideas, sir, here, maybe some listening fellow to think of some entrepreneurial opportunities?
See, they say you give a person a fish, you feed him for a day.
Okay.
Right? You teach him fishing and you feed him for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So rather than telling you 1 or 2 products that should be manufactured, why not give them the technique how we actually identify what to manufacture?
Right, sir.
See, a simple way is that what India needs, right? You go to a simple website which tells you what India is importing, right? So in your own chosen field, whatever you are or wherever you want to go domain, so you just go to that site, you can download what India is importing. So import substitution is the easiest way to manufacture, right?
That's true.
So what we do, so we are into at the moment 7-8 fields. So what we have done, so we just go to that
What is
list,
being imported.
whatever is in the domain is being imported, just convert that.
No,
into
that has
the-
become the method of survey.
It's so easy today,
Right.
right? So we don't go to any place, it's so easy. So what we then do is, the list is there, let's say we get 10 items out of that, then we go to the market.
Right, sir.
So we do a cross check on that, do a survey on that again. So if the survey matches the list,
Right.
and that is a good product, that we go in for.
So it's a demand
developing
supply
it.
principle. Which
Yes,
works.
very simple. So, and you will be amazed, right from the brush, toothbrush, to the paste, to the soap, to the clothes that we wear, none is the Indian owner. All of them, all the brands that we use today in a daily life, they are the imported products. Though they are made in India, but they are not actually India. So the actual earnings, they are going to
Oh.
other nations.
Yeah.
This is what we need to understand.
Even after 70, 75 years of
Yeah.
independence,
We have not
same
created
things,
brands.
yeah.
And on top of it, we have a very bad mindset. Anything which is imported,
Is
a
better.
big level is better.
Yeah.
So we have to come out of it. Why can't we create great brands in India? That's the first point.
Right.
Second is to the general public. Why shouldn't we buy the Indian products?
That's true.
Today, when we sell as a company, we sell in 50 countries, right? And our shares have gone from, I told you that our company started with 50,000 rupees. Today is valued more than 2,000 crores. So 2,000 crores, because we were given an offer by a company, they wanted to invest in a company. That's during the Corona time, a few months back, and we rejected that offer. So our company is valued much more, correct? That means a foreign player is valuing our company so much. Why can't Indians value their own
Brands.
brands?
That's true. That's
And on the industry side, we are not doing enough to create great brands. Maybe our marketing is less, or we don't want to venture into great marketing budgets, but we need to do it.
Started your own enterprises, own ventures, and you are also helping others also. And the way you have explained looks like identify the gap and work on that, and it will work. It is not that easy, sir. We know there are so many failures. Can you tell us on the basis of your experience where the failure, why the failure comes?
So I tell you, now I'm mentoring 10, 15 startups, and we have invested in one startup. Now when we met this startup, they, on the engineering side, they had so much knowledge and we had no knowledge. So whatever they explained that what they want to do was so high tech. They explained me in a presentation of 2 to 3 hours, and I was just looking at them because I was not understanding anything. But everything was a music to my ears. Why? Because they were high tech words. So we said yes to them because they were so impressive, though I did not understand anything. Now, but when they started working with us, you know what happened? Apart from their science, which they knew so well, when they would come on small commercial things, day-to-day things, managing them, they were absolutely not knowing. And where we were very handy to them. So we will just getting an account made, just making a small policy, just buying a few things, they were not able to do. Marketing, production, they were not knowing. So it was a very nice, convenient marriage. They knew their subject so well, we knew our subject so well. Correct? Without us, they would have perished in the first 2 years.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Without them, we could not have even dreamt of making such a high-tech company.
Okay.
So just imagine. So
That kind of
what I'm
collaboration is
trying to
required.
say is that these great minds still need a lot of hand-holding in the first 5 years.
Right.
Without a godfather, without a good company mentoring them or into them, right, as an equity partner, they might perish. Only 10% survive on their own and 90% perish.
Okay.
So, whereas if they go into certain incubation centers and have these companies like us as their equity partners, they will ensure that, I would say, from 10%, the success rate will go to 90%.
Dr. Singh, I know you as a person who goes to the academic institute and fund a lot of projects also. I know that. But sir, do you think there are other industry people also who are ready to do these kind of things?
Well, the culture is not there with the industry to go to the academia and then do all this. I come from an academic background, so I was a little more adventurous in that. But I tell you, still you need to create certain role models. Still we have to work a lot. This will become a cascading effect. A wave would be there thereafter, if it is not there today. But yes, we all have to work towards it. We all have to put this kind of what you are doing. You're doing a wonderful job spreading this message,
Right, sir.
spreading this message of success. So a lot of industry would get, motivated through it. I'm telling you, because of this academia coming into the company,
Yes, sir.
that we have grown from, a 50,000 rupees company to a 2,000 crore company, right? Just because we are a very academic oriented company. We are a very R&D
Quality conscious,
oriented
yeah.
company.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, my next question was related to this only. Like many MSMEs or small scale or medium scale companies, they do not think of investing in their R&D wing, for which they can recruit masters or PhD people. They think it is a sort of wastage of their resources. What is your take on that, sir?
See, I would say that the two ways. One is a carrot, the other is a stick.
Stick, yeah.
So what should be the stick? First of all, the government should ensure, like they have put a stick on the CSR. Why 2% of our investment, profit, would go to a CSR, back to the community. So we give it. It's a danda.
Okay.
Whether we want it or not, we have to donate, right? We have to do certain projects.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Similarly, why can't after a certain stage, industry has a danda by the government that you have to put, let's say, 1% of your total this thing on the R&D side of it.
Okay.
So because of this danda, we will work. That's one way. The other thing is a carrot. So the carrot is, the SOPs that the government is planning to give or is already giving. So they should increase the SOPs, right?
Yes.
That if you do an R&D, we will give you all this money. Now, of late, what has happened is that the R&D help has gone down. Initially, there were lots of SOPs, lots of subsidies on if you invest in R&D. Suddenly, the government has stopped. I request the government agencies to start it again, because we still need a lot of push, both carrot and stick,
Right.
so as to push R&D into each and every industry that we have today.
Right, sir.
And then people like you, those who should market the success stories of people who have invested in R&D.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
All this is required.
That's it.
And then the academia role. So academia has to push. See, academia has become very, very active these days.
Right.
I'm sure they have become active, because in the last 3, 4, 5 years, I see a lot of colleges visiting us.
Right.
They inviting us, and then they have lots of such programs where they are forced to work with the industry.
Right.
I think they are doing excellent job.
Right.
They have started and they are doing something great.
Right, sir.
Right?
Right, sir. Dr. Singh, I want to ask now next one or two last questions related to your company only. So when we talk about your company, sir, what can be some kind of research projects on which you think academia should work?
See, this is a very case to case, this thing,
Right.
because we have to see what is the academia good at.
Right, sir.
So we need to understand that way,
Right.
that we have to understand that what is one industry delivering as an excellence center, rather what they know, their competence. On the other hand is that it keeps on changing every 6 months. Correct?
Right, sir.
So when we make our business plans are made for 1 year,
Right.
the short-term business
Right,
plan,
right, sir.
but we have right to change it in mid-year also. So now we signed up 2 projects with Shri Chitra. So I think they are great projects. So one is on the varus vulgus knee brace. We have lots of knee osteoarthritis and not even a single good product. We were not capable of making a great product. So we went to the academia. The academia, we found them very capable, so we have given them that product. Similarly, there is a foot product for the diabetic. So diabetes is increasing very fast in India. So we are creating a shoe kind of a thing where the diabetic patient would never ever have the ulcers or the sores.
Okay.
na? Diabetic sores are very, very bad.
Yes, sir.
And it can lead to amputation also.
Right.
So we are working on these two products with them. So similarly, it keeps on changing. So I cannot give you offhand that what projects that we want to work on. But yes, I can assure you we have every 6 months some projects coming out of this thing. Like now we want to work on IoTs,
Yeah.
the Internet of Things.
Right.
So why can't our product be an IoT device,
Right, sir.
correct? Collecting a lot of data.
Right, sir.
Similarly, we want to create a product where we can use our orthotic devices as depot for drugs.
Right.
And why can't we have a large-scale transdermal drug delivery through our products?
Right, sir.
So these are some of the ideas that we want to carry.
Right, sir.
Similarly, using technology to bring the patient and the industry close.
Right,
So
sir.
that also is a technology-oriented projects that we want to work on.
Right, sir.
So there's a lot that we can do. At least our company is open, and each department is open to partnering with an academic institute, whoever is willing to come.
So list is endless.
The list is endless, and it keeps on changing. New things keep on coming, and every 6 months we have a new list, right? And the old either is consumed by our own people because they start developing on that,
Right, sir.
or it is given to some institute.
Right,
So
sir.
depending upon whether we are very hard pressed for time or we have ample time to do it.
That's
So that is how we decide whether it goes to our own R&D or it goes to an R&D in an academic institute.
Okay. Dr. Singh, how this difficult it is, or how effort oriented it is, work-life balance to make that kind of things for you, for a person like you?
See,
how hectic it is?
I tell you how I consider my work-life balance. First of all, I love my work.
Okay.
So for me, it is the most pleasant thing to do. So it's a hobby for me,
Okay.
right?
You
So
enjoy it.
I enjoy it. So for me, it is not.
It does
work.
not look like work.
Second, yes. So, and the second thing is that, we try to get our families involved into it. Each family member, might have some competences.
Right.
Like my wife is very good at plants, maintenance, housekeeping and all. So she's one of the directors. When the family gets involved, so it's a family time also. So it's a pleasure. And not only that, my family would be involved. So we involve the families of our people also.
People also, okay.
Right? So we have a very, how I should say, a very participative, a very open culture. I tell you, if you come in the morning at 7 o'clock, though the industry starts at 9 o'clock, so 7 o'clock people have come. They start working or do gymming. Our office closes at 6:30, but people leave our office at 10 o'clock. Why? Because they love coming to the office. They spend
Working
a lot
there.
of time. They can come with their families. They can do gymming. They can play table tennis. They can play badminton. We have lots of things. Entertainment is there. So I think that work-life balance you talked of, working here or sitting in the office or sitting at home, is actually pleasure.
Pleasure for you.
So
So
either
it
way,
looks like
the
home
families
only.
are here and we have fun together. And research itself is fun
Okay, that's great.
because every day you generate something new.
Dr. Singh, we have come to an end of this wonderful session. Now my last request to you is, what message you have to give to all the
See,
audience
my
out there?
message was there in all that we have discussed. First of all, let's make industry academia seamless. How do we do it? You move 2 steps, we will move 5 steps. That's one. Second is that let us do a bit of rethinking on the education system.
That's true.
Right? Why not make at least the engineering courses, the management courses more industry oriented, one, more practical oriented, more project oriented, right? So when the students come to us, the new recruits, they already know how to implement what they have studied.
Right, sir.
The next thing is the startups. Everybody should try to actually go for entrepreneurship, right? Why work for a foreign brand? Why not create your own industry?
It's true.
Next is to the ordinary layman country. Unless we support them, they will not become great.
They will not become. So vocal
We-
for local, sir.
Vocal for local. The next thing is that the government is doing absolutely great.
Okay.
They have put up right policies, but maybe the industry has to come forward to take the benefits, understand them in the right perspective and use them. And to the bureaucrats, make the delivery of the great policies easier. Because sometimes we find the bureaucrats, they do not work enough to make them easier. Even if the industry wants, there is an impediment. The policy we read is great, but it's not being delivered.
That's true.
So there is a frustration on the side sometimes that, okay, there is a policy, I'm still not getting it. So all these things have to be changed. We as a country have to change bit by bit. It cannot be done overnight. But yes, we have to start moving. We take baby steps towards that.
So we
This
have,
is the message that I think a
Everybody will
collective
be
message
getting it.
everybody should get.
believe me, Dr. Singh, this interaction of yours, it was very, very motivational, and lot many ideas are there. And I'm really thankful to you, sir, that you spared this much time after your very, very hectic and busy schedule. And I'm very sure this will help all of them who are listening there.
I think the pleasure was all mine, because the message that we sometimes only address to 20 students in a college,
It can go to lakhs of people.
it has gone to lakhs and lakhs. So
Yeah.
thanks to you and your channel. Thank you for inviting me here.